Hey y'all. The mantra "Kill Your Masters" on Killer Mike's t shirt when he addressed the protests in Atlanta has deep meaning, and I want white folks to embrace it. It is an exhortation to kill your inner demons, your fear, your ego. Your fear of alienating friends and family keeps you from speaking out. Your ego keeps you from protesting. The president says he is the law and order president, but law and order really means status quo. And I say the status quo is unacceptable. It is our master as we thrive in an unjust society. We must kill that master. That being said, I also believe in the founding principles of the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, but I know that something is deeply wrong in this country. It has a sickness that, if not cured, will tear it apart. When slavery was abolished, white America said, "All right, you don't have to live in chains anymore. Now shut up and leave us alone." When the Civil Rights Act was passed, white America said, "All right, you've got equal rights under the law and can use the same water fountains and ride in the front of the bus. Now shut up and leave us alone." What are we going to say if George Floyd's murderer is given the death sentence? "All right, we killed the cop that killed you. Now shut up and leave us alone." That is a sickness. Why is it okay for people to stand on the steps of a courthouse with AR-15s and bulletproof vests protesting a government shutdown of businesses to fight a pandemic? But people can't walk and chant in the street protesting black inequality and police brutality? That is a sickness. The protest movement has been galvanized anew by the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, but at its root, I believe, is this sickness in the country. We must not let it slow down or die out. We must demand justice for these victims, but I also want a deeper, longer lasting justice. I want a justice where a white woman doesn't have the license to weaponize a black man's race against him. I want a justice where two black men can be in a Starbucks without having the cops called on them. I want a justice where a black professor doesn't have the cops called on him for entering his own home. If you're looking at this protest violence and saying, "How awful, what a shame," you should apply that thinking to the violence black folks experience at the hands of the police and the emotional violence they experience from the minds of ignorant white folks. If you're watching these protests and thinking, "Police brutality is awful, but this looting has got to stop," flip it. The looting is awful, but police brutality has to stop. I went to a protest in Fort Collins recently. It was nice and lovely and in a park. No police either. But there have been protests in the streets for a week straight in major metropolitan cities, but none here. Why? Because this community is like a real life Pleasantville. The citizens aren't out in the streets because they don't have the anger of people in Atlanta, Philadelphia, DC, or New York. We live in a bubble, and in that bubble we have become numb to the pain of suffering of black folks because our privilege we have become blind and indifferent. These protests are a beautiful thing. For once, shut up about property damage and think deeply about why so many people are angry and protesting. It's time for white folks to teach their children, change their family and friends' minds, speak with their feet and wallets. We must use our privilege to lift up those without privilege. We must use our voices to amplify the cries and anger of black voices. We must not be silent. We must eradicate the blindness and indifference to the inequality of opportunity in this country. We must use our voices and feet to protest police brutality. Something is deeply wrong in this country. It may seem like there's nothing wrong when you're enjoying $20 bottomless mimosas and tapas on a Sunday afternoon, but there is. I'm saying all of this because I love this country. I love Atlanta. I love all of you. I know it's an imperfect message. I know I'm an imperfect person, but I'm an ally and I refuse to be silent anymore. If I can change one mind, empower one individual with this message, it will be a success because if one person can be empowered, millions can.